Hello guys, it is Shivam here. Welcome to a brand new video where we are going to make a Flutter app with Firebase that cover every authentication. Sign up, sign in, Google and Apple. So do not forget to hit that like button and also subscribe to our channel so that you won't miss out on any of the upcoming videos we upload on this channel. Now let's get started. So as you can see here, we have already made a UI of our signing and sign up page. So here you can see the UI that I have just made by using the Flutter, and here you can see the screen of sign up page, but here you can see in the down it has written already have an account, sign in. Now when I click to this signing text, I will move to the signing screen from where I can simply enter email and password and can directly sign in the app. So it is just a front end. We need to add a complete back end to make it work. So let's move and we'll move to the sign up page first, and in the sign up page we need to add a three strings. So let's move to the sign up page, and here you can see the name, email and the password. So we need a three strings for name, email and the password. So I will simply move to the string, and we need first email. So I will write email and then the password and then for the name. Yeah, so here it is. Now we need to pass a text editing controller so that we can handle the text that the user will enter on this text field. So first one is name, second is email and third is password. So we need to simply pass a text editing controller, name controller equals to new text editing controller. Yeah, we need this because I need to handle the text that the user will enter on this name controller, name text field. Now we need to also create a two text field for the email and the password. So I will write mail and third will be password, something like this. We'll write password. So name, email and the password. Now after writing this text field, I need to pass this controller in the respective text field to handle the text. So I will simply pass a controller. So it is email, so I will write mail controller. So up one is name, so I will write controller, which will be name controller, and third will be the password controller. So I will write controller and the password controller, something like this. So after this I need to move to the registration function, but before adding the registration function, so we need to first connect this app with a Firebase. So let's move to the Firebase and we need to create a project. So I will write a random project name which will be Firebase Auth. Now we'll click to continue button and then we'll click to continue again. Now select default account for Firebase, create project. So as you can see that Firebase is preparing our project, so wait for a few seconds until it is done. So here you can see that project is preparing, but let's move to the Pub.dev and we need to copy some packages from the Pub.dev. So first one is Firebase core. So I'll move to the Firebase core and we'll copy this package and we'll paste it inside the pub.spec.yaml file. We need all these packages to connect the Firebase with our Flutter app. So we'll paste it over here. Now our second package will be Cloud Firestore. Cloud Firestore will help us to upload the data in the Firestore database. So we'll copy this Cloud Firestore, we'll paste it over here. The third will be Firebase Auth, as it is says auth, so it means authentication. So we need this package to enable the Firebase authentication in our Flutter app. So for 1, 2, 3. Now I think so fourth one will be a random string. So this random string will help us to create a random, like a string which will be a document ID. So do not need to worry, I will tell why I used a random string over here. Now I think so we have added all the packages that we need. Now let's move to the Firebase. I think so project is ready. Yes, now click on continue button and we'll directly move to the project. So here you can see that we can connect iOS, Android and web app with a Flutter app. So first I'm going to connect the Apple app, then we are with a Android app. So first move with the Apple, and we need a Apple bundle ID. So to get this Apple bundle ID, we need to move to the Xcode. So here you can see the Xcode. Now after this, we move to the runner, signing and capabilities. Now copy this bundle ID from here and we'll paste it over here. Now click on register app and wait for a few seconds. Now download Google service info.plist file from here, and we'll open this file and just remove the older files if you have. So I will remove the older files what all I have. So let me find the older file if I have, because it should be exact like Google services info.plist. Yeah, so here it is. We need to, and we'll rename from to, and we'll paste it below the info. Now click on finish. So here it is done, and here you can see the Google service info.plist file. Now simply you can close this Xcode and close this too, and now click on next, next, continue to the console. So as you can see that we have successfully added the iOS app here. Now let's move to the Android app. Now we need to copy this Android package name. So we'll move to the not Xcode, we need to move to the VS Code, and we'll move to the Android folder app build Gradle, I think so, src app build.gradle, and we'll copy this application ID from here and we'll paste it over here. Now click on register app and wait for a few seconds, and we need to download google-services.json file and open this file. We'll paste it over here, just rename the file from Google services.json and close this too. Now click on next. Now here you can see that we need to add some plugin. So I'll copy this and we'll move to the build.gradle over here, and we'll paste it over here, and we'll remove this and we'll paste it over here. We need to edit some of the lines. Now please do not skip this process, because it is very necessary to keep going and add all the things that I am adding in this build.gradle file, because if you skip any of the process, forget to add any colon or any full stop, then you will frequently throw an error. So to not found any error, just simply add the colon and do not skip any of the process or part from this video. Now we have added a class path over here. Now after this, you can see that we have got some error from the Firebase Auth app, which is Firebase Auth. So it is a version error. Now you need to simply go to the perspecaml file, and if you are facing any version error, then simply remove that version from each packages, and it will automatically take a package according to the package we have added here. So here it will be done. So here you can see that all the packages has been run successfully. Now let's move to the build.gradle file again. Yeah, over here. So here you can see that we have added the class path. Now our next process is adding a plugin to the app build.gradle file. So we'll move to the app build.gradle file, and we need to paste it something over here. So we'll copy and we'll paste it over here, and we'll do like this and like this. Yeah. Now again implementation, which is a dependencies, and we'll paste it over here, and a second dependency over here. Now we have wrote all the things, not wrote, I think so, we have pasted all the commands that we need for Android. But if you are still facing an error to run the app in your real Android device, I will suggest you that please follow our Barber app, because in that Barber app series you will find one video where we have shown all the errors that the user can find while running the first Flutter app to their real device. So in that video, I have shown all the errors that the user can find, and I have solved all that error one by one. So if you are facing that error, then you can simply follow that video. Now after adding all the dependencies, so this was a old error after changing the version. Now after this, we need move to the main.dart, and we need to just add some command to connect Flutter Firebase with our Flutter app. Now we need to pass widgets Flutter binding dot ensure initialized. Now after this, we need to pass await Firebase dot initialize app. So let's call a Firebase dot initialize app. Yeah. So here it is done, and we have connected a Firebase with our Flutter app. Now we'll move to the signup.dart page again, and here, but I think so we didn't allow the authentication from the Firebase. So let's move to the build, and we'll move to the authentication, and in the authentication, now click on get started button and wait for a few seconds. So let's move to the email and password. We'll enable email and password, click on save button. Now after this, we need to also enable a second, add a new provider, and we need to also enable a Google. So as you know that I am also adding a Google authentication. Wait a second, enable save. Yeah, done. Just wait for a few seconds. Yeah, it is done. Now click on done. Now click on add new provider, and we are also enabling the Apple provider. Yeah, so Apple, Google and email. So we have added a 3 authentication. Move to the registration page, and we'll simply write a registration function, and we'll call this registration function when the user will press this forward arrow button. Now after this, I need to simply write a sync. Now if the password is not equals to null, and same for the email is not equals to null, null, it will not a null, it will be a space, is not equals to space, and email is not equals to space, and we'll do same for the password, should be is not equals to space. Then we need to pass a try catch error. Now not error, now try catch, because for an example, if there will be any error, for an example, if the user have entered a weak password, then we can simply show that the user have entered a weak password, and if the user have already entered the email that has been already in the use, then we can simply throw an error that the email has been already in the use. So this will be handled through the try catch. Now after this, we need to pass a try, and we need to pass a user credential equals to await. Now we need to pass await Firebase auth. So you already know that we have passed Firebase auth package, so we are getting that Firebase auth from that package dot instance dot create user with email and password, and here we need to pass a toString, which is email and the password. So here it is done. After this, we need to pass a scaffold messenger. So we'll write scaffold messenger. Now the scaffold messenger will help us to show a snack bar over here once the user authenticate, and they will simply show that the user have authenticated successfully. Now we need to show a snack bar, so we'll write show snack bar, and we'll write snack bar. Now in the content, we need to pass a text that I have just told you now, and registered TERED, registered successfully. Yeah, so here it is done, and if you want, you can change the color of a snack bar according to your choice, but I need to just pass a style text style, and we'll simply increase the font size up to 20.0. Yeah. Now after this we need to pass on, so we'll simply write on Firebase auth exception, and we need to catch an error. So I've already told you what error we are going to catch by using the try catch, and we'll write if e dot code is equals to weak password, weak password, something like this, and we'll again show a snack bar which will suggest that the user have entered a weak password. So we'll write password provided is too weak. So we'll write password provided is too weak. Yeah. And if you want, you can change a background color. So we'll write background color, not over here. I think so over here we can pass background color, which will be colors dot orange accent. Yeah, something like this. Now we need to pass else if case. So this is if case. Now we need to pass again else if case. So we'll write else if, yeah, and we'll write e dot code if the user have used the same email ID that they have used before. So we'll write if email is already in use. So we'll check that the code that present on e dot code is matched with email already in use. Then we are going to show the snack bar, and we'll simply change the text like account already exists. So as you can see that it is very easy to write the registration function. It is just like you need to pass a simple case by using try catch and simple if and else, and the same snack bar code again and again. So this is the thing that we need to do, and if it is true, then we need to show that the background color green, colors dot green. Yeah, so here it is done. Now after this, once the user have registered, I want to push the user to the home page. So if you are adding this authentication in any of the app like e-commerce, or you can say barber app, because we have already made 10 apps on this channel, you can follow that apps and can learn lots of things regarding the Flutter and Firebase. So you can see that we have added authentication on that series. So we need to create a home page so that I can push the user to the home page once they authenticate. So I will write import material, and we can simply pass a stateful widget, and we will pass home. Now we'll pass scaffold, body, container, body and a container. Now we can pass an app bar, and in the app bar we can pass a title which will be the text, and we can simply pass home just to indicate that we have moved to the home page. Now we need to push the user to the home page, so we need to use a navigator dot push material page route function. So we'll write material page route context, context, yeah, and the home page. Yeah, so here it is done, and we have wrote a complete registration function. Now we can move to the arrow where the user will click. So we'll wrap up with a gesture detector, and in the on tap method I'm going to first check if the user have entered the name text field or not. So if that name text field is not equals to null or space, then I will check that if the email text field is null. So if it is not null, then we'll check that password controller.text So password text field should not be equals to null. Then we are going to execute a registration function. So after this I need to pass set state and will simply pass email and mail controller dot text, so that the will get a text that the user will enter on this respective text field. Now after this name, so we'll write name equals to name controller dot text, and we'll do same for the password. So we'll write password equals to password controller dot text. Yeah. So here it is. Now after this we need to call a registration function. So we'll write registration, and here it is done, and we have wrote a complete backend for our sign up page. So now let's test the app. So first I'm going to write my name, so which is Shivam, Shivam, but here you can see it is on black color. But if you want, you can change a black color to white. You can simply move to the text field. You can pass a style and text style colors dot white. Yeah, and it will simply change the text color to white, and font weight dot bold. And we will simply copy this style and will paste on every text field. Yeah, Shivam, and here it is Shivam. I will remove this Shivam. Yeah, Gupta, and a random mail ID gmail.com and the password. But here you can see that password is not in a dot form. So if you want to show in the dot form, you can simply pass the opt secure text to true, and it will simply change the text to the dotted form. And we can now simply click to this forward arrow icon. So here you can see that we have registered successfully, and we didn't pass a navigator function. I think so we have passed in our wrong if statement, sorry for that, and we'll paste it over here. Yeah, so let me test it again. Let me hot restart the app. We'll write a name again, Shivam Gupta, but I can't use a same email, so I will again press and random email gmail.com and the password. Now I'll click to this forward arrow icon again, and here you can see that we have registered successfully and directly move to the home page. So our sign up page is working brilliantly, and we can directly sign up in the app. Now when I'll move to the authentication and we'll refresh this page, so here you can find the two email ID that I have just used to authenticate in the Flutter app. So it is working brilliantly. Now let's move to the signing page. So here it is a signing page, and here you can say a email, password, Google and Apple. So first I'm going to use a login function, login authentication, to log in with an email. Then we are going to move forward with a Google and Apple authentication. So again we need to write a toString, because first one is for email and second one is for the password. So we'll write string email is equals to space, and a password will be equals to space. Yeah, so these two things we need, and editing controller, text editing controller, to handle the text again. So while writing the text editing controller again, I will copy this and will paste it over here. Yeah, now after this we need to create a user login function that will be called when the user will press to this forward arrow button in the login page. So let's move and user login function. So it will be a same function just like a registration, just we need to change some of the commands, like we need to write sign in with email and password function. So again we are going to use a try catch, and we'll write await Firebase Auth dot instance dot sign in with email and password, and the email and password over here. Now we'll again push the user to the home page after the user have been logged in. So I will copy this navigator function, and now I'll paste it in the correct function. So again we don't find any error. Yeah, Now after this, we need to write on Firebase or exception catch, and we are going to catch the error. And here in the login page, if the user will be not found, for an example, if the user have entered the email and the password and the user is not found, then we can simply pass that no user found for that email. So we need to again write that function. So I'll move to the sign up page. So why need to write a code again and again? We'll copy that and we'll paste it over here, and we'll simply change the e code like user not found. Yeah, and we'll simply change the text that no user found for that email, found for that email. Yeah, so here it is. Now we need to also pass one more command, which is else if, and the second case will be like the user have entered a wrong password, then we can simply pass that wrong password provided by the user. So here you can see that it is very easy to write a function for the login and sign up. You just need to simply pass a thing and like a simply pass a different case. It is just write a copy paste thing. You don't need to write a too much code for a login and sign up page. Now we can simply pass e code like wrong password, yeah, and we can simply pass the text like wrong password provided by user. Yeah, so here it is done. Yeah, so user login function, try catch, yes. Now we need to pass text editing controller on respective text field. We can pass the controller, which will be mail controller, and same for the password, which will be password controller. Yeah, and if you want to change the text color so that the text you enter on this text field you can see it clearly, you can simply copy this style and you can pass it over here. Yeah, save over here. And if you want to secure your password, just pass of secure text to true. Yeah, so here it is done. Now we need to also pass a command to the login page. So in the gesture detector, in the on tap method, I need to simply pass if mail controller dot text is not equals to space, and we'll check for same for the password, which will be like password controller dot text should not be equals to space, then we need to again use a set state. We need to pass mail controller dot text, mail controller dot text here, and save for the password, which will be password controller dot text. Yeah, and once it is done, we need to call a user login function. Yeah, so we have wrote a complete code. Now let's test it. So let's auto start the app again. Now first I'm going to sign up with the email ID that I will just remember the password, and I will use a same email ID to log in the app. So I will write Ayush Gupta ayush123@gmail.com and the password. Yeah, so our registration function is working brilliantly. Now let's test the signing page. I will use a same email ID to sign in, 123@gmail.com, and same for the password. Now click to this again, and here you can see that we have again moved to the home page. So our email authentication, it is done and it is working brilliantly, and have shown you how to sign in and sign up in the app. So if you haven't hit that like button till now, then I have a small request from you all, because from my side I am giving my 100% to explain you each line of the code that I'm writing over here. So do not forget to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that I can upload some more awesome course on this channel and you won't miss it. Now let's move and we will add the backend for our Google and Apple signing. So first I'm going to add the Google signing and then I will show you how to sign in with a Google with my one of Google account. So to do that, I need to add some of the packages from the Pub.dev. So let's move to the Pub.dev and I need to copy one package name Google sign in, which will help us to add the authentication in our Flutter app. Now move to the installing and copy this dependency and we'll paste it over here in the perspec.ml file. Now simply run this package and if you are facing the version error again, then simply remove that specific version and here it is done. After this, I need to move to the leaf folder and will create a new folder inside the leaf folder which will be services. Now inside the services folder, I will create a new file named auth.dart and inside the auth.dart file, I will write all the code related to the Google authentication. Now I will write class auth methods. So I will simply write auth methods. Yeah. Now I need to simply write final Firebase auth. So I will write Firebase auth equals to Firebase auth dot instance. Firebase auth dot instance. Yeah. Now I need to simply pass get current user and we'll check that if we have authenticate in this app or not, and we'll check that by using get current user function. We'll pass a sync and we'll simply return an await auth dot current user. Yeah. Now here I need to write a main function which is sign in with Google, and this function will be called when the user will tap to this Google image or you can say an icon. Now we can simply write a function name sign in with Google. Now in this function first I need to pass context which will be context. Now we'll pass async. Now final Firebase auth equals to Firebase auth dot instance, yeah, something like this, and we'll do same for the Google signing. So I will write Google and Google signing equals to Google sign in, yeah, and we'll simply write again final Google sign in account will write again Google signing account is equals to await Google sign in dot sign in. Yeah. So here it is. We need to pass null check. Yeah. And the final again Google sign in authentication. Google sign in authentication will pass Google signing authentication is equals to await Google signing account dot authentication, and again null check, and same over here. Yeah. So here it is done. Now we need to write final auth credential is equals to Google auth provider. Wait a second. Google auth provider dot credential, not provider, sorry, credential, and we need to simply pass an ID token and Google sign in authentication dot ID token, something like this. Again null check error, and same for the access token, and we'll simply pass Google signing authentication dot access token. Yeah, so here it is done. Now after this, I need to simply pass user credential over here. So I will simply pass user credential result is equals to await Firebase auth Firebase auth dot sign in with credential, and we need to pass a credential. Yeah, and same user, and we'll pass user details is equals to result dot user. Yeah, and if the detail we got once the user authenticate with any of the user ID, now I will do one thing, like I need to simply upload the data to the Firestore database. As I have told you before, in this Google authentication, I will not simply authenticate with a Google. I will also show you how to upload the user detail in the Firestore database. So we'll simply write if result is not equals to null, then we'll pass a map, and you already know the use of map if you have followed my other series, and if you haven't followed, you will find the link in the description box on or in the comment box. Now we'll write our map name, which is user info map, and on this map I need to first pass an email, and we'll simply pass an email by user details dot email. Yeah, so here it is. Now after this I need to pass name. So this all things we are getting from the email that the user have used for authenticate in the app with their Google account. So we write user details dot display name to get his name, and img url. So if you don't know the use of map, basically map is a combination of key value pairs. So in this key we are passing a string, and this is a dynamic character. So in this dynamic character we can pass anything like a number, or you can say a boolean character, a string. So this is a specific string because it is under inverted comma, but this is a dynamic character. So in this img url I will simply pass user details dot photo url. Yeah, and same for the id, and we'll pass the user id dot uid. Yeah, so here it is a map that we are going to use. Now after this I will simply pass await and a database method. So to write that database I will simply create a new file. Here we'll write database dot dart, and inside this dart file I will simply pass class database methods, methods. Yeah, and here I need to simply write a future, and in this future I will write a function name which will be add user, will pass a string which will be user id. This is a specific id that I have shown, that is user details dot uid, and here I need to pass a map which will be a string dynamic, and the map name which is user info map, something like this. Now we can simply return by using Firebase Firestore dot instance dot collection, and we'll write a collection name user. So let me show you what all things I'm writing here. So in when you move to the Firestore database, you can see that there will be a collection. So first we need to create a database. So let me create this database, and we can click on next, create. So it will take some time to set up some rule, as you can see, and we need to also change the rule from false, I think so, from true to false, and then we can upload the data to the Firestore database. So wait for a few seconds as it is loading. So I think so it is completed. Now just move to the rules and wait for a few seconds. Yeah, sorry, false to true. We need to do false to true over here and click on publish button, and do not forget to change the rules from here, otherwise you can't upload the data to the Firestore database. So you may find this that your security rules is defined public, anyone can steal, so no one will steal your data, so do not need to worry, as there is an authentication that we have already added. So here you can see that in the start collection, what I have shown you the collection. So here it will show a user collection, a specific doc ID, and we are going to upload one document after the another in the user collection. So we'll write user collection and we'll pass a doc. In this doc, I need to pass a specific user ID dot, and we need to use a set method, and we'll simply set up the map, which is user info map. After this, I will simply pass database methods dot, and we can write a function name which is add user, and we can simply pass user details dot uid and the map name. So here it is done. Now once the data is uploaded to the Firestore database, then we'll simply push the user to the home page. So we'll again write navigator dot push, and we'll write material page route. So I will write material page route. Now we'll write context, and in the context we'll push the user to the home page. So we'll write home. Yeah. So here it is done, and we have added all the details in the sign in with Google function. Now let's call this function. So we'll move to the signing.dart page again, and where we have wrote a container, we'll wrap up with a gesture detector, and in the onTap method I will simply call that function. So we'll write auth methods dot sign in with Google. Yeah. So here it is done. Now we'll simply hot restart the app, but I think so hot restart will not work over here because we have just added the Google sign in package. So to run this package completely, we need to completely rerun the app, and then we can add a Google authentication. So give me a few seconds and let me add this package by rerunning the app from the start. So I've run the app again, and now let's move to the Google authentication. Now when I'll tap to this Google icon, so if you are using the Android device, then you don't need to do anything extra. It will successfully run the Google authentication in the Android device. But if you are using the iOS device, then we need to do some changes in the Xcode. So let's move to the Xcode first. Once we move to the Xcode, here when you'll go to the Google service dash info, here you will find a client ID. But if you are not finding a client ID, is because we have just added the Google authentication from the authentication part, and then we have, I think so, before we have paste a Google service dash info file over here. So when you are adding the authentication from the Firebase, like from the signing method, when you are enabling the Google authentication, then there is some changes in the Google service dash info dot plist file. So we need to get this file again, and I will show you that the difference, because I have got lots of comments from the different subscribers that they are telling that they can't find a client ID in Google service dash info. This is the reason that you are pasting a Google service dash info before adding the Google authentication from the authentication part from the Firebase. So now when I'll move and will copy this Google service, I will show you the difference. So I will download from here again. Yeah, and here we got it up, and we'll remove the old one, move to bin, and we'll rename something like this, and we'll paste it same here. So here I will show you the difference. So this is one old plist file, and this is the new plist file. So here you can see a reverse client ID. So we need this reverse client ID, but you can see in this old Google service dash info, you can't see a reverse client ID. So this is a difference. So when you can't find a reverse client ID, just download the Google service dash info.plist file from the Firebase again and paste it here, and we'll simply remove this old one and we'll delete and we'll move to trash, and we'll copy this reverse client ID, we'll move to the runner and we'll move to the info, and in the URL types I will click to this add button and we'll paste it over here, something like this. So here it is done, and now we can successfully run a Google authentication in the iOS device. Now let's move, and don't forget to rerun the app again because you have made a changes in the Xcode. So each time when you are doing anything extra or adding any packages or doing any changes in the Xcode, please rerun the app again because it will simply crash your app. Now when I'll tap to this Google icon, here you can see that Firebase Auth app wants to use google.com to sign in. So I will press on continue button, and here you can see that I can simply enter my one of the Google ID and we can directly authenticate with the help of Google sign in. So let me add the Google ID over here. You can see that I have added a complete detail, and here it is my Google ID, and we'll click on continue button. So here it is done, and we have successfully moved to the home page, and let's move to the Firestore database again, and we'll simply move here and I will show you the users collection that I was talking about. So here you can see the user collection. This is my specific doc ID, the email that I've used to authenticate, the ID, the image and the name. So here you can see that our Google authentication part is also done, and we have successfully authenticated through our Google ID, and it is also working brilliantly. So do not forget to hit that thumbs up button down below. I mean a like button. Now let's move with a last authentication, which is an Apple authentication. So we'll move to the auth.dart again, and we'll simply write one more function, which is sign in with Apple. So here on this function I will move and will simply write future, and we'll write user sign in with Apple, sign in with Apple, and we'll pass a list and a scopes equals to const, something like this. And but let's do one thing, let's first add the package for Apple signing. So we'll move to the Pub.dev again, and here we'll simply write Apple signing. So we need to copy this package name, the Apple sign in. So this is the package we are going to use. We'll move to the installing, we'll copy this package and we'll paste it again in the perspec.yaml file. Yeah, and run this package auth.dart again. Now after this we need to do one thing, we can simply write a code in our sign in with Apple function. So we'll write final result equals to await the Apple sign in, yeah, dot perform request, and in this we'll pass a request which will be Apple ID, Apple ID request, and in this request I need to simply pass requested scopes, which is a scopes. So we need to pass a switch case, and we'll pass result dot status, and we need to pass a case which will be authorization status. So write authorization status dot authorized, okay, and a final case again, same for the Apple ID credential, yeah, equals to result dot credential, yeah, and then we need to write final OAuth credential is equals to OAuth provider, something like OAuth, yeah, and the provider ID we need to pass apple.com, and again our final credential equals to OAuth credential, we need to pass a provider ID and a sign in method. Sorry, not this one. I think so. OAuth credential, which will be above one. So OAuth credential dot credential, and in this credential we need to pass a ID token. In this ID token we can pass a string dot from char code Apple ID credential, yeah, dot identify token. So you don't need to learn this code. I will do one thing, like I will paste a complete source code link in the description box. You can find the link, and if you want to just write a code and or copy the code, it's up to your wish, because you don't need to like learn the code, because this is a code that you can paste and can simply run signing with Apple. So if I will write a complete code, then it will take lots of time to write a complete code over here. So I will do one thing, I will move to the and will directly copy and paste the code in the signing with Apple, because this is the code that you don't need to learn and anything. So you just need to copy and paste the code for the signing in with Apple, because there is lots of code, and if you just miss one of the thing from the you signing with Apple, then it will frequently throw the error. So that will be a not a right process to write this function. So I will simply copy and paste this signing with Apple function over here, and you can find the same in the source code. So let's move. So here it is. I have just simply copy and paste the code from the source code, and it is sign in with Apple function. We'll directly move to the signing.dart page, and inside the Apple container or the image that we have added for the Apple in signing page, here we'll simply write auth methods dot sign in with Apple, something like this. Now here the process is not complete. For adding the Apple authentication, we need to move to the Xcode and enable the sign in with Apple from the Xcode. So here we move to the Xcode and click on capability in signing and capabilities and move down, and we need to simply add a sign in with Apple over here, and I have successfully added sign in with Apple. Now close this, and we need to rerun the app again because we have added something from the Xcode. So let's rerun the app again. So our app is launched successfully. Now I will simply click to this Apple icon or the image that we have added, and here you can see that it simply says that sign in with your Apple ID. You need to sign in with your Apple ID in setting. So I need to add the Apple ID from the settings, then I can simply sign in with the Apple ID that I have. Now I click to the settings, it will directly move me to add the Apple ID. So here you can see that our Apple authentication is also working brilliantly, and we can easily authenticate through the Apple. So on our today's video, I have taught you how to sign in with Apple, Google and email authentication, how to add a sign up and signing page, and how to upload the data to the Firestore database, and how to add the packages from the Pub.dev into your Perspective file. So I am sure that you have get to know lots of things regarding the Flutter and Firebase. So do not forget to drop a like button and show your support by hitting that subscribe button, and you can find the source code link in the description box. Until then, keep coding, keep having fun. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.